Hello everyone, welcome to Chosen of Gods 6K 2v2. We are now at the final. We have Team Minds on Comms Off versus Team ONYX here, two very capable teams that have fought their way all the way to this finale. I'm very excited to see how both teams play. We're on our first round here on GoldRush. I'm joined by Darg.
Hello!
And Tuna.
Howdy.
And yeah, Darg, would you like to take it away here with the fleets of both sides?
Yes, we're dropping down here with the OSP team, whose Minds on Comms Off. This is going to be an interesting first match, because I know Minds on Comms Off prefers OSP, and ONYX prefers ANS. Both teams playing their preferred faction right now. We have one real fucker of a monitor blob here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 monitors, escorted by one jamming shuttle, and it looks like one LRT tug. Start going through these. These are the monitors that I'm not a huge fan of, but in a big volume like this, this is actually pretty effective. When you have 4, it's not so great. When you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, double that, they're gonna be able to put out the firepower, and they've got the redundancy. I definitely prefer this monitor blob.
All of these monitors are named after players that I believe Team ONYX has fought.
Oh shit!
Themselves. Yes.
I didn't even notice it.
It's all people that have fallen, I believe, to Team Minds on Comms Off, which is a very nice tribute, I suppose.
Oh yes, good catch, good catch, good catch. Snipes also. How many ships do you have, bro? He's got like 15 vessels. He's also got, in addition to the monitor swarm. All right, let's get past these. Sky, gun shuttle. 3, 4, 5. 6 gun shuttles and 1 nearly naked capping shuttle for capping, and man, that is a lot of map presence he's going to have with this, especially later in the game when he can break up the monitor blob. Quiz has a pair of 450 bulk freighters. All right, we were talking last night why we never see 450 out of OSP, but we're seeing a couple out of them this time, and their opponents don't have any battleships, so these are actually going to be very effective against the Axfords, hopefully, if they can get the range, and they'll wreck destroyers too. It's got a Rail Ocello, which you never see anyone use in the competitive arena.
I saw Hunter use it on this map, actually.
That is true. That is true. That is true. As like an anchor and an enabler in these open spaces, man. I am super unfamiliar with GoldRush, by the way, so this is going to be a little scuffed.
I've seen multiple Dazzlers on this fleet here as well, which probably a good call, because I think I heard Mr. Meanie and Spicy talking about bringing EO missiles, so we'll see what happens there.
I don't know. Those two have been pretty reticent to bring missiles. In fact, in general, there haven't been that many missiles floating around this tournament. Let's see, what else does Quizkiv have? An Intellitor, Mining Tug, and then 1, 2, 3 MMTs scattered around, and 1 nearly naked and 2 completely naked capping shuttles. Now, switching back over to Meanie, we've got Gun Sprinter, Gun and Missile Sprinter, and they're also covered by these extreme greed, nearly naked Axfords with almost none of the mounts in use. Just a couple defenders, a couple chaff boxes, 2 big 450 cannons, and nothing on the rear. These things are cheap, and they can be effective as long as they don't get punished. And it looks like OSP doesn't really have enough missiles to punish them. But the C90 spam on the monitors might be able to do that. We shall have to see. Got a beam goalie, Pinard ship, another gun sprinter, another beam goalie. Has 3 goalie beamers, 2 of these Pinard sprinters, another LCS Vauxhall. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the same fleet we saw him using on ANS in the past.
On the Tumbleweed. Yes,
on the Tumbleweed map. Yeah, Spicy's got something similar as well. Yes.
Struggling.
Spicy.
One moment.
That has complaints.
What are the issues with the stream? I will read chat. Continue.
3 Axfords 450 out of Spicy, all in a group, all together. Almost no hard kill. A whopping 3 defenders, 1 interrupt, and 6 chaff boxes to protect them from missiles. Just beyond gritty. I'm honestly amazed that these haven't gotten horribly punished by missiles yet. But Also escorted by 2 jamming sprinters, and as we saw last night, that makes these experts pretty much invisible outside of about 5-6 kilometers to anything other than a dedicated LRT tug. Both teams have secured their naturals, and it's looking like OSP is getting shaped to grab the alpha point. They are engaging the sprinters, but a handful of gun shuttles do indeed beat a couple sprinters. Or even just one sprinter is down here, but a beam destroyer is coming up, is going to get an angle on that and start beaming it. It is, however, getting hit pretty hard by this 450 bulk predators. This is what I was talking about early on. The 450 shells absolutely devastating to the destroyer because they will, even in these broadsides, often fuse inside the vessel and deal a ton of damage to that ship. Losing radar panels, lost an antenna, lost its defenders, its reactor's taking damage, its beam's taking damage. Oh, yeah.
Going on right now. In those fights, there's some missile skirmishing over by sea, and I don't know if you guys caught it, but earlier in the game, ANS fired a perfect scout missile that saw not only the entire monitor blow up, but also both of the line ships. So they got all that intel right away off the gate. So great move there.
C90s.
The Axis here are starting to move up, getting shots on the 450 liners.
C90s and the railgun bullying that protective destroyer off of the alpha point. So I think OSP is going to be able to capture it. They've hidden one shuttle inside the big mineral patches here in the middle of GoldRush. And they're gunning down the gun sprinter that is hanging out and possibly defending and guarding the point. Looks like the capital balls are going to engage each other pretty quick here. The Triple Axford group moving up, jamming out the monitors now into that lower middle A point. So we're gonna see who brought the best build very quickly. Normally, a lot of times you'll have capitals wind up going in opposite directions of each other, but not this time. The 450 Axford is absolutely annihilating one of these 450 bulk freighters, dealing incredible amounts of damage. It's looking like the bulk freighter can't punch through the jamming. They do have tracks, but no one's got a lock on these Axfords. You really need locks on Axfords at this range. Just medium jam track, even in the broadside, is not going to cut it, especially with these. Oh, right, they're double whiplash, so these actually aren't going to be very good at dodging, but they can chase things down and they can make use of the jamming pretty effectively because the raiders aren't increasing the signature size of the Axfords.
Yeah, unfortunately, this 450 liner is going to get mauled to death by these. This is 3 broadside Axfords.
Oh, yeah.
The plasma is now kicking in. They're going to get... Oh, it looks like they're firing the plasma at the sprinter rather than the Axford. That is regrettable.
It might not be.
There it is. Oh no, it's just a very bad opening sprint.
Yeah,
that's what that was.
yeah. And honestly, I'd like to see if OSP has knowledge on what this build actually is. The monitors could tear apart these sprinters with C90s if they can get tracks on them, of course. Though I think behind the jamming, the sprinters are basically invisible too.
Yeah, one of the 450 liners is just gone. It can no longer restore. It's lost everything, and it's out of the fight.
That's brutal. None of these Axfords are horribly damaged. Of course, ANS has lost a destroyer, and the Axfords are backing off. They really don't want to take this fight. It's just a little too much mass. We got about 4,500 points of Axfords plus escorts versus like 9k of gunship out of OSP, and even though you can kill the LNs way faster than they can kill the Axfords, the monitors plus the bulk freighters are going to do some irreconcilable damage to these big ships.
Missile exchange going on up in the top. One of the Partisan, one of the sprinters, is currently trying to fight 2 MMTs, managing to, with AMMs and its defenders, to stop well, a lot of ACT command missiles coming in there, which probably is very frustrating for Team Mines On Comms Off.
They were able to kill the Penard sprinter off on the corner, though Nightingale, they were able to kill that with missiles, so that's one last intel asset for ANS over on that side of the map.
The naked sprinter shuttle is getting onto the B point though. Is the beam destroyer going to get its beam on range? Yeah, it should be able to get it on time, and there's nothing that the aux steering can do to stop it.
However, Team ONYX has been pretty much bullied off the map by Mines On Comms Off. The monitor is able to zone out a huge portion of the map. OSP left the Echo side more or less open, but ANS pretty much abandoned that side as well, going through the Charlie Alpha and then the Natural Control. Both teams are. And it looks like right now OSP is winning that straight up face-to-face battle with these Axfords. Axfords pushing in just a little too close. But the thing about the 450 ships is even with the jammers, you really want to be at long range. You've got to be at 10 kilometers. And I think with how greedily these are built, they don't have the track correlated spy. They do have the track correlated spyglass, actually, to be able to take this fight at long range. I'm really not sure why they pushed in so close then. Might have been a little overconfidence in the jamming, because now that they've gotten close and they've taken a little bit of attrition, the monitors are able to push in, and because this is double the size of the monitor blob we were seeing yesterday, the C90, even though there's not a ton of firepower here per ship, there are so many vessels, and it's hard to actually kill them off, that they're able to just cut straight through these Axfords.
When you have a moment, take a look at the damage control board of Partisan. I've just noticed something rather unfortunate for it.
Yeah, that is a shame. I've seen it there earlier. The MMTs managed to finish it off. BCAP is not going to go to Mines on Comms off just yet, but both these MMTs, they have the missiles left. They do have missiles left. They could kill the Beamstone.
Quizquiz absolutely bum rushing the backside of ANS's map with the shuttle, and now the MMTs, they're slowly cutting off these defensive assets. Beam ships are being down, sprinters are being down, although Quizquiz has gotten a little too aggressive, and Meanie has been able to, at least I think this is Meanie, yeah, has been able to kill a couple MMTs as well as a shuttle.
I actually really like this though, because they're pushing the Axfords. They're basically grouping up all of ANS. They're like pushing them into this one corner of the map by sea, and they might get caught in the open by this monitor blob if it pushes forwards or otherwise continues its advance. But as it is, I mean, they're gonna have B, they're gonna have A, they're gonna have D, they're gonna have E, and you know, pretty good situation. to be in.
Yeah, the C-Cap destroyer was caught out in the open, and it's just been mauled to death. So that's another DD down for
C90
Team ONYX.
good. Oh yes, the 100 mil having issues against the Telemachus because it hasn't quite been plasmid on the port amidships, even though its port forward is plasmid off pretty heavily. Penelope also has its port side pretty beat up.
Beam coming in here on one of the MMTs, trying to get to the B point. We're seeing almost a repeat of what happened to Trench Rats on this map, where they got hemmed in on the C point, if I remember correctly. Exactly the same sort of situation. However, there is this Vauxhall Javelin. It is heading towards the E-Cap. There isn't much to contest that right now, so it should be able to take that and make it, flip it around to a 3-cap lead, but in the meantime, ANS is stuck with a lot of assets in this corner.
And they're in a severe military disadvantage too. Unlike the game with the Trench Rats, where OSP is able to run away with it through pure map control, I think if these monitors rush down the Axfords and the 450 ships and the Rail Cello can get an angle from OSP's spawn, those Axfords will be in an immense amount of trouble because you can't really dodge fire in a tiny space like that. And also with these not having raiders at all, they're gonna struggle to dodge 450 at medium to long ranges. However, the Axfords are getting a really good angle on the Viracocha, which is one of the 450 bulk freighters, and it's a little damaged so far, even has lost its boosted reactor. So it's going to struggle to make use of those 450 guns.
Just restored it there now. But it's probably going to get knocked out again, knowing how boosted reactors like to behave.
Oh yeah, the 450 output of these ships, even though there's only 2 uncovered right now, is going to be quite high, and will tear this apart in no time.
Might be able to get away, however. It is, very close to the rock. If it dies in time, it can probably survive with minimal damage. But we'll see. It seems the monitors, however, they've turned to face... I think they were expecting Trebuchet to rise up there. Trebuchet's not doing that. So the monitors are facing towards ANS's B point. They're not paying attention to these Axfords that have, got themselves nestled in the sea. I think they're like, okay, we don't have to deal with them for a while. But...
the Bardiche is now getting killed by T-20 shuttles of all things. Very unfortunate. Oh, the Bittenfeld. Yes, gunned down by the Claymore immediately.
I appreciate naming ship after him. Such a small ship, I guess, is a bit of a comedy.
Irony of ironies, the Bittenfeld getting beans.
Yes, it is. Ooh, Beamstone.
Just flunk out and he's gonna go ahead and rip E away from OSP here.
Yeah, they're finally managing to get onto that E point. The 450 liner though has rolled around and is now shooting that Vastol. 450 liner versus a Vastol is the kind of engagement the 450 liner wants.
That's bad, yeah. Before the MV increase and the side thruster nerf, Voxels could dodge 450 all day, but not anymore. 450 versus Vastol. Oh, and it's got double whip. Okay, I really like double whip because it gives you incredible strategic mobility, especially on these LCS anti-cap ships, but it's going to make it almost impossible to dodge those big shells at, well, really any range.
One thing to note is the monitor blob is untouched. They have taken no damage. Besides flank damage on their thrusters, they have taken nothing.
Okay, the Javelin's definitely going to be able to grab the Echo Point. The Vitokocha was indefinitely behind one of the big mineral spires for just long enough for the Javelin to get to cover in this donut here around the Echo Point. It executed the defending shuttle almost immediately. And it's going to be able to capture that uncontested. I think there's a chance. Okay, no, that's a magazine cookout, not a nuclear blast. The Viracocha is heading over to that point, but I don't think it's got too much raw speed. Yeah, it's got a fat yard, which has not increased its top speed hardly at all. Not even breaking 30. So it's going to take a couple minutes to get over the Echo Point, and at close range, the 250 voxel wins the 450 fight, because you can actually force a bulk predator to keep on rolling to try and target you, and pretty much keep it unable to fire at those close angles, even with the yard drive. The monitors have now engaged the trebuchet. Like you said earlier, Vastol, they were wanting it to pop up, and it wasn't. Well, they have forced the issue by pushing into the ANS's spawn and are plasming it and blasting at it with 600 and 100.
No, the C90s actually were focusing on one of these 450 experts on the C point, firing the C90s there and just having the plasma turrets fire at Trebuchet as if they're like, okay, we'll deal with that now, but we'll soften up Trebuchet while we're moving towards it. Because the broadside, these experts were broadside on, so the C90s were doing a decent bit of damage towards them.
And they're able to keep
launch at one of the line ships in OSP's backline.
Oh yeah, AMMs kicking in. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, ACT AMMs against missiles with no SSJ or BSSJ, so those are going to be very effective at shutting this sprinter down. ACT AMMs extremely effective versus S2Hs with no support. However, the Javelin is moving up and engaging the Viracocha directly. Viracocha almost nose on. It does have a backpack.
He's going for a torp charge.
Spin Juicer Cringe Masters. Oh!
And this thing I think is T20 max. Let's take a look at the PD slot. No, it has two Pavis, one Bastion, which isn't going to do anything. And then
that is not going to cut it.
Both are on the nose, and that's the angle that the torps will come in from.
But the nose PD angles are awful.
Let's take a look.
Railgun's hitting the Javelin now.
On this ship.
Missiles away.
Oh, yep. Hitting in, not doing a whole lot, knocking out doing some damage to the reinforced CIC, it looks like, which is a big deal.
You really don't want to be eating Rail's nose on in a voxel. He's only got 5 teams and 3 restores. That is not very much damage control. This thing is very clearly points cringed to hell for the cap control, and everything on the inside is on fire. And more things are getting on fire. They gotta get out now, or these tubes are gonna start dying. Okay, there they go. Oh, man! Ever wanted to see a bulk freighter explode? How many missile ships do you have in this thing? Their torpedoes, they only have a 3-second launch time, so you can just boom, 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 bomb that stuff out. I think the Voxel has... I think it's got 3 channels.
Pretty low maneuverability. We'll see. I think they'll get through here, but...
They're absolutely going to punch through. I think they're going to lose 2 or 3. Yeah, I told you, man. The nose PD angles on this hull design are really terrible for shooting things down.
Yeah, these are also, they've got, oh my god,
reactor
so many.
Progress, everything's red.
It's over.
It's all broken.
See you later!
It's alive, but,
the Javelin doing living up to its name, absolutely executing the Viracocha. OSP now has no 450 capability. They're going to have to rely on the monitors to be the main combat element, although those monitors are being quite effective. They're currently engaging the Ulysses, the Bismarck, and the Penelope, or the Telemachus. I saw Brimisk, and I was like, yes, that is Bismarck. That is what that word is. I'm trying to read
from the rest of their names.
Do indeed. Ulysses taking some hits, Telemachus taking some hits, Penelope as well. They're not in broadside, they're not able to get their rear guns on target, so each one of these experts is going to have its firepower cut in 1/3, but their tankiness is going to increase being nose on. I'm honestly not sure which one you want.
Mine's on D, securing the D cap, making sure that, kill that sprinter.
Nice, nice, nice. Girl going down.
Going back to team, going to team. I was about to say team Kudar. Team Minds on comes off. The Bardish, or whatever, is basically ineffective, so it can't contest the cap. And Trebuchet is the only asset they have nearby that can try and retake it, besides Partisan, which it hasn't been given any orders. Oh, it is being ordered. Probably to charge.
Partisan is aux steering only, so it's
aux steering only. It cannot contest. More plasma just being vomited at these actions.
I really want to watch a beam destroyer absolutely execute this monitor blob, but I think all the beam destroyers are fucked. There's the Claymore, which is currently hanging out on Charlie and covering it from nothing. Well, this is the one ship that you don't want to engage the monitor. the monitors with.
Everyone.
Yeah, that happens sometimes when you get excited and you start talking too fast and you get saliva down the wrong tube. Because if the beam destroyer engages these, the monitors can just turn and kill it immediately. You really need a beam destroyer to come in from behind and start cutting out engines, because these are pretty tight on power, and if they can cut out either a yard drive or the reactor, these will no longer be able to function very effectively.
What's going on with the Vauxhall right now? I mean, it's
smoking.
It needs
smoking.
Some spicy food. It needs some milk, and there's no milk.
Rail Cello doing an incredible job.
My wife is taking the BE point, it appears. I miss her so much. I want her to come home. Maybe after this battle. Oh my god. Yeah, no, Penelope is, Telemachus is starting to get pretty badly mauled. C86 is, C68 is out. Probably going to lose the C66 soon. Double arc steering in the bow though, which is always a good thing to do. Oh.
Bloom on A.
Dead on A.
It hosts the shuttle. The shuttle now has a cell cook-off from that. It is being fixed, though. There is a single rapid team in there.
Oh, man. That's so silly. I love when you see a reactor bloom on a shuttle and you're like, oh, that's not going to do anything. These things already have no armor. And then it takes a good amount of damage. You're like, oh, okay. I see. I feel like reactor blooms have to have like low armor penetration or something, because they do a lot of damage to the small ships, but they don't do shit damage-wise to the capitals.
Well, they burn all that armor off, which, as he pointed out before, is pretty important.
Right, that's more important than the damage. I just think it's an interesting difference there about how different ships experience them in different ways.
Yeah, taking a look at the situation now, after my wife managed to cap the E point, there was a 4-cap lead. And that is very painful for Team ONYX. Team ONYX is just backed up into this corner.
Yeah,
no assets, no map control. It's a repeat of the same match that we saw previously, where the monitors were able to just bully a group of experts into a corner. Unfortunately, I think... not sure what they could have done against this. There would be maybe railstones, an offset lock and a railstone. I mean, a group of railstones could perhaps cause a lot of annoyance for these monitor balls. Maybe that, maybe just... Oh god, Trebuchet is starting to get mauled now as well. So has the focus of everyone.
I think this is very much a fleet editor loss. Both teams tried to play the forehead game, and OSP's build was just more lethal. So there's kind of like this bell curve of efficacy, where I think OSP would have struggled a lot if ANS was going hard on the cap gaming, but because they invested more into the sheer combat, they beat their opponents that invested almost as much, but not the same amount.
One other thing I think to note is that 450 Axfords, especially 450 broadside Axfords that have been points cringed, these things are good at, they're not frontline. Do not consider them frontline. They are a kind of support backline in that you do not want to be fighting monitors with those things. They won't do anything. They will get mauled. The 450 broadside, because you're going to get jammed, you're not going to have good tracks, the 450 is not going to hit. Snipes has very interesting builds where it's beam 450 Axfords. They're meant to get close to monitor balls. They're meant to trade with them. Or at least, you know, maul them. Unfortunately, because of all the jamming, you cannot do anything at the ranges that Team ONYX was fighting at least in my opinion. Because they can't get the locks. They are shooting worse than the monitors. C90s are hitting them. But they're both basically doing no damage to each other. But eventually the monitors will start... Oh, that's very sad to see.
Yeah,
just ending in the
instantly dying.
Yeah.
And I think this game's pretty much over at this point. OSP has control of the entire map. They're 250 points ahead. They got a 4-1 cap lead. ANS is bottled up in the Charlie point, but they can't even like eke out a military victory because so much of their ships have been destroyed, and what is here hanging out on Charlie is heavily damaged. And those monitors just win this fight straight up. If they engage these Axfords, the Axfords are going to lose.
I think we're about to see more mines activate on D as well, and I just really quickly want to say I love how these are placed.
All right,
that little thing of gold is great.
Let's see it. Let's bear witness. I don't know. I think the
yeah,
Javelin's just a little too far away.
Well, I was thinking he might be trying to suicide either the Vox or the Sprinter, but maybe not now.
Yeah, the Vox, I don't think the Vox, it's not doing too good right now.
What's the activation range on mines? 2 kilometers?
He's just outside it. If you look at
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm watching. He's just barely.
AMMs,
clear it earlier, I think he gave up.
HU shape. Firing these wake-only Chris Pratt missiles.
Why?
I don't...
They're surprisingly good, actually. If you can get a good angle, Wake S1s can often hit things. Oh! I say that.
The drive is dead. The drive is dead, so, you know, there is no Wake trail.
Get somebody. Oh, man, he's getting so close to these mines, dude. I think they're just flying around and looking at the Wake drops, because I think Wake signatures drop it in space last longer than Wake signatures on hold. So maybe that's what they're going after?
Oh, that's it.
There they go.
Okay, ANS is throwing in the towel. Round. They really should have done that earlier and try to save their energy for the next round. They're going to need it.
Okay, then. Well, that is a victory round 1 to Team Minds on Comms Off. A dominating performance there. The monitors, just terrifying. Unfortunately, they didn't. If they had, like, say, I don't know, hypothetically, a Beam BB behind the plate to surprise monitors, but that's a completely different build. That's a completely different way to play the match, and we don't know how that would have went out. But really, if you have a big ball like that, you need something that can either break it or you need to play around it. Those are the only 2 options.
Yep. See, and they were 2 half and half on the cap versus the combat, and so they didn't really have the cap control to outcap OSP, and they didn't have the raw meat to just outfight them. So the Rail Cello and the MNTs were able to control the cap game, and then the monitors were able to just smash face. The 450 LNs could have helped, but they just got obliterated by the Axfords. That was good. I will say that was very good target priority. You do absolutely want to kill the LNs before the MNs because their raw DPS is much higher than the monitors are on a per hole basis. And on the flip side, the 450 is way more effective against bulk freighters than it is against monitors.
Unfortunately, how many beam destroyers ended up doing 0 damage that game?
One did 100,
one did 0, one the other 2, one breached 5,000, the other one did 4,000, which, oof. Like, some managed to do a bit of their job, but unfortunately a lot were just caught out before they could do anything and were punished horrendously for it. Well, I guess there's nothing else to say. Yeah, we shall move on to the second round here. Hopefully, we'll see a 1-1 so we can get to a third round. I expect a lot of stuff from Team ONYX, and I think they can do that.
Me too. I'm going to close up this video, and then we can get rolling on the next one. Boom! Game 1 of the finals over. Woo! That was a good match. I know we were pretty doom and gloom at about the 50% mark of it going heavily in OSP's favor. But it was pretty close there for a little bit. And I think both teams played quite well considering what they had to deal with. That'll take us to game 2 here shortly. See you in the battle space.